Okay, intro VT, 1 minute.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2025 Meet Your Future Grand Finale. Today, we're live from the Co-op Live in Manchester. I'm Jake Fellows. I'm a Partnership and Quality Lead at Greater Manchester Combined Authority, and I am here today to shine a light on the events industry, especially the UK events industry. From festivals to conferences to exhibitions and sports, live shows, there's something within this sector for everybody. Whether creative, practical, technical or business-minded, today we're joined by two brilliant guests to help explore all of it. First, I've got Sophie Bezor, Head of Operations and Engagement at the Power of Events. She leads the nationwide school engagement programme and represents the industry across 7 sectors, 4 nations and 5 career routes. Her work focuses on keeping access neutral, inclusive and open to all young people. We're also joined by John Sibley, Senior Lecturer at Manchester Metropolitan University. He champions university as one valuable route into the workplace, while encouraging young people to explore all their other options, whether it be T-levels, apprenticeships or work experience. Together, the three of us, we're going to explore how the events industry works and what roles are out there and how you can take your first step, whichever path is right for you. So let's get started. We've got some questions that have been fielded out from the invitations this week, so we won't be taking any questions live, but we'll be taking questions for the audience. So Sophie, the first question over to you. The creative and events industry needs all kinds of people, creative thinkers, organisers, technical specialists, planners, problem solvers, and where you're detail focused, practical and imaginative. With that in mind, if you're not a performer or a designer, is there still a role for me within the events industry?
Absolutely. So no matter who you are or what your skill set is or what you're interested in, there's a job for you in this industry. So in this venue alone, you'll have cleaners. They work in the events industry. You've got front of house, you've got back of house, you've got the performers, as you say, we're looking at the backstage space, you've got people who build the set, you've got people who take down the set, people who do the rigging and the lighting, you've got sound engineers. Looking on a much bigger scale, in order to get something like Taylor Swift concert to work, you need people to drive that kit around. In order for her to have that global reach, you needed people to organise the travel itinerary. There were 30 people who organised her flights alone. So within this industry, no matter who you are or what you're interested in, we've got a job for you.
Amazing, thank you so much. Moving swiftly on to our second question, John, this one's for you if that's okay. So we're looking at exploring different pathways into the industry itself. So we know there are lots of ways into the creative industry through T-levels, apprenticeship, college courses, universities, internships, work experience, and there's no one right way in. With that in mind, do you have to go to university to get into the events industry?
You don't have to go to university to get into events. There's, as you said, loads of different routes in. You can do your T-skills, your T-levels, you can do an apprenticeship, you can go direct into employment, you can do professional qualifications. All of those different routes will get you a job in the events industry. All of those different routes will involve some form of practical work experience, but also you'll have to do some learning around the job to understand what it takes to deliver events in a space like this.
And just to add to that, you don't have to get it right straight away. And you'll do a combination of those routes. So speaking from my own experience, I did a lot of sort of internships and placement really early in my career. I then went to university at 21 and then did direct employment, and I've got my sights on a lot of short courses. of the sort of 5-6 routes that we represent, the vast majority of event professionals will have done 2 or 3 of them. And if you start an apprenticeship and find that's not quite right for you, there's no judgment in our industry if you then switch to a degree or you switch from a degree to a direct employment. We just want people with the right attitude, that care and are passionate and love it. The rest of it will come with time.
Amazing, thank you so much, both of you. So John, just to sort of further that, what we were just talking around there. So we know it's not just about chasing one job title, it's about building the skills that open up to a wide variety of options, especially in technical and production areas, and the transfer between those sectors like we've just discussed. So John, do you always have to stay in one job, or can you move around within the industry?
Oh no, you can definitely move around. I think that's what's exciting about a career in events, is that you can move around across the 7 sectors. So you can decide that you want to start in a venue like this, thinking about music, and you can take those skills that you've learned and move across into the world of sport events if you wanted to. Equally, the types of career available within one sector are varied as well. So if you wanted to stay within music, for example, as your chosen career, you can change your career path within that. So where you start in the industry is definitely not where you need to end up.
You're a skill set, not a job role.
Skill set, not a job role. I think that's a massive thing that we need to take away from today's session. So we're looking at what's going to be the motivator next. Sophie, so this question is going to come to yourself. So whether it's money, stability, making a difference, creativity or travel, understanding what motivates you will help you choose your path. I know this from personal experience and from the young people we've got in the room today. My question to you is, can you earn good money in a technical or backstage role within the events industry?
Absolutely. So it's not uncommon within the events industry to be making 6 figures. It's also not uncommon to be making buttons. So I think what's really important, and when we talk to young people as part of our work at Power of Event, is once you make enough, which most of us do, once you make enough money, what's next? What's the next thing that motivates you? For me personally, it's impact. So when I was 15, 16, I was part of the Giant Spectacular over in Liverpool, and it had a really big impact. It changed the physical landscape of Liverpool. It made people proud of where they'd come from. It had this enormous legacy, and it had 2 more subsequent events. So I knew I wanted to be involved in impact, and that manifested in going to university and wanting to work in sort of big mega events. But the reality is now I work what is an office job, and I run the schools program, but the key is I still love it because that motivation about impact is still there. Admittedly, I also love a bit of novelty. So another really key thing, another key motivator could be novelty. And that could be being able to say that you've met Taylor Swift. It may be saying that you've traveled a lot or whatever that may be. And I'll be honest, I'm going to tell everyone that we've done this today. So it's understanding what motivates you and seeking that out. It might be power, it might be novelty, it might be travel, it might be security, but have a conversation with your caregivers, with your careers leads, with your teachers, trusted adults within your life to help you work out what it is that motivates you.
Thank you for that, Sophie. And while we're talking around motivation, I know my motivation is stability in the workplace, which is something that we've discussed already. So John, I'm just going to ask you another question on that. So do you have to pick between being in a creative role and having that stability?
I think you can have stability within a creative role. It's like Sophie was saying, it's about finding what motivates you, finding your passion, find what you're interested in. Often things that we do in our personal life, our hobbies, we might be in a band, we might play sport, all of those things, the things that we're passionate about as young people can translate into careers in the events industry. And you can have a long career doing those things that you are really passionate about now.
Amazing, thank you for that. So we've covered routes into the industry, the different types of roles. I want to talk a little bit more personally for our final questions, if that's okay. So we'll be taking around looking at why your work matters. Sophie, you've given examples in your early career around things that, felt small but made a big difference. Can you elaborate on that further for us by any chance?
Absolutely. So that event I was a part of back when I was a teenager, I was one of 400 volunteers that were just stewards. We were holding the crowd back, but we needed all 400 of us in order to create that human chain that both kept the performers safe, but also the crowd safe. And we moved over, I think it was about 4 miles in 3 days,
Wow.
keeping that crowd safe, and hundreds of thousands of people were kept safe because we all played our part. And it's those little things that we, as part of our schools program, talk about COP that happened up in Glasgow. Mm-hmm. And those conversations are powerful that happen at Glasgow. They impact millions of people and have decade-long legacy. But someone had to put the chairs out. Someone had to feed them. Someone got to open the door at the start of that day. And all of those tiny little things facilitated conversations that have enormous, enormous impact. At an event like, on a venue like this, it's the technicians, it's the cleaners, like we said before, all of those people make the events happen. And that's not to say that we don't want you to go out and be leaders. Absolutely, if that's something that motivates you, go and be a leader, go start your own agency, go start your own festival. But that is just as valuable as people who come in and do the entry-level jobs or the mid-level jobs or whatever that may be.
Thank you so much. Final question, John, is going to come to yourself, if that's okay. So we've talked about the different routes in. We'll go more specifically into T-levels and apprenticeships. So if I did a T-level and apprenticeship, would I get to work on real events?
Yeah, absolutely. As part of your T-level, you need to do some work experience within that qualification. That work experience can be in all the different types of job role that are associated with the events industry. Apprenticeship, slightly different. So you will be employed by an event organisation and you will work on their events on their behalf. Both of those routes you'll need to do some education as part of it. You'll do some training, so you're able to do those roles, but both of them give you the opportunity to get hands-on and really get to know what this industry is all about.
That is amazing.
And you can get involved now. If you want to be a doctor, you're 10 years away from being a doctor. If you want to be an architect that builds buildings, you're 10 years away from that breaking ground. You want to be an event professional, you can do that today. So it's finding those opportunities, it's seeking them out. The giants that I keep referencing, I was too young to be involved. So I went along to the briefing with the audacity of ridiculousness. And at the end of that briefing, walked up to the guy who'd given the presentation, who was in a very pretty necklace, and just asked permission. He went, yeah, it's fine, just don't draw attention to yourself. 2 days later, I'm on the front page of the Echo. Turned out it was the mayor. So it's advocate for yourself. In order for you to be in the right place at the right time to get that opportunity, you have to show up and keep showing up. And the reality is, when we talk about those opportunities, there's an example I always give that in my first year at uni, I identified the 10 people I wanted to be when I grew up. And I reached out to those real people, reached out to them on LinkedIn. 5 of them came back to me, 3 of them I went to lunch with, and the final one, Martin Fullard, introduced me to my first boss, who's now my landlord, and my second boss that I still work for, 10531. So if you reach out to 100 people, creating your own opportunities, the world is your oyster.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Sophie. John, anything else before we wrap up at all?
Yeah, I think definitely reach out to people in the industry, but reach out to the people that are in your close circle. So speak to teachers, for example. There'll be lots of events happening on school campuses around Manchester. There'll be sports days, theatre productions, open days, parents' evenings. All of those things need organising, managing, planning, people to be front of house. They might need technicians to help with the production of the show that's happening in the theatre. So, obviously dream big. Think about places like this that you could come and work in or volunteer at, for example. But there'll be lots of things happening either in your school or your local community that you can get involved in straight away.
And to sort of answer a question we frequently get, what are employers looking for? What are people who have jobs looking for? And the reality is it's attitude. Every day of the week we'd hire someone with the right attitude over somebody who's highly qualified. Because I can teach you how to do your job, I can't teach you to play nicely with others. So turn up with enthusiasm, show passion, show willing to understand and to learn, and we will welcome you with open arms.
That is amazing. Thank you both so much for today's session. We really do appreciate it. And it's been fantastic to explore the UK events industry, especially from one of the biggest venues within Greater Manchester. Very impressive to be here, and I will say that. So yeah, massive thank you to Sophie and John, and a special thank you to the Co-op Live team for having us here today early this morning. I also want to recognise the crew behind the scenes. So we've had fantastic support from Bailey, Ben, Matthew and Alex this morning, and it's really helped it to run so smoothly. My final thank you goes out to you in the classrooms across Greater Manchester for tuning in and taking part. And it's a really good way to start thinking about your future and where it could lie within your place in Greater Manchester. If you want to explore more careers within the UK events industry, go to thepowerofevents.org. The platform is free to use. There's plenty of resources on there to help you along your way. Thank you again. Hope to see you at an event soon, and maybe working behind the scenes in a place like this. Cheers.